The 80s.
Talk about it.
I ran these streets. I ran with these streets with Unique and the other people. When the Wolves was out.
Oh, tell them again.
When the Wolves was out in the 80s. I ain't never had a problem. My favorite cars was convertible. I rode convertibles in the 80s. Not hard tops. Convertibles.
Tell them how we got the convertibles. Where we had to send them to get them built. You know what I mean?
California.
Tell them again.
When they didn't make a certain convertible.
You know what I mean?
But again, I came to see Unique to chop it up with him about certain things. But again, I'm letting you know, I'm not promoting being a rat, being a government witness and all that. I'm promoting being a man and stand on it.
And this is what I want to sit down where me and you talk so that the youth can hear this and then they can decide what they want to do.
You know, what determines being a man? That you do 40, 50 years? What determines that? I don't know. What determines fallen soldiers? Because I know a lot of fallen soldiers that ain't getting a commissary sheet from nobody in the street.
You understand? Now that's his stance. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, only Allah can judge me. You know what I mean? Period. He can't judge me. You know what I mean? Allah can't judge me. Can't nobody judge me but Allah. You know what I mean? So let's get that straight. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sit here and try and judge him for his actions. I'm not even going to entertain the energy to do that because I haven't walked in your shoes, don't want to walk in your shoes.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to invite you to walk in my shoes.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
So let's get that straight.
Let
you know what I mean?
And let the youth know. Do you. Walk in your own path. Be your own man. Don't let nobody tell you, you got to do this or you got to do that. You can't. You got to walk in your own path. But again, I don't promote being a rat, government witness and all that. I promote being a man and walking your truth. When you do something against the code of the street, you lose your weakness. Again, promoting, I'm still a man. And I'm not going to let nobody ever come disrespect me. For nothing, I did, even with telling like you say I did, and which I did, I still did.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. And listen, man, today I want to speak not so much as like react. I want to speak, man, to this little segment. Alpo, he did with Unique Mecca Audio. If y'all haven't checked it out yet, I'm gonna leave a full video link to it in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. And you have your own opinion about the whole matter and whatnot with the snitching and not snitching, whatever. But I'm gonna just touch on a few key points that I found interesting in the little interview and give you my take on it. And after y'all hear what I gotta say, let me know how y'all feel in the comments below, because like I said, this is an interesting topic on so many levels, man. And it's touchy because everyone has their own interpretation of what real is, alright, or what keeping it real means, or what a real man is, or what the street code or the loyalty and whatever. So this is why this subject is so touchy, because it could go either way. Now, a lot of people talk about the quote-unquote code, you know, the code of the streets, but they fail to realize that everyone has their own interpretation of what the code really means. Like, there's no real rubric or guideline and whatever instructions to the street code. It's not. And to me personally, I consider it unwritten rules that are often bent and broken based on who it applies to. And that's just that. Now, if you've been living on the rock and you don't know who Alpo is, he's a drug kingpin, come on now. He's a former drug kingpin from back in the days from Harlem, who pretty much dominated the drug market back then. Now, him along with his team of guys, AZ and Rich Porter, they made a lot of money and they flaunted it. They was buying crazy expensive clothes, minks, cars, throwing money away, you know. And a lot of people assume that they were older, but these was dudes, like, they was pretty much in their teens, bro, like 18, 19, 20s, like. But when you hear the stories that these dudes are involved in, not just them, like a lot of hustlers from back in the days, man, you start thinking like, yo, these dudes had to be older, but nah, they was like teens in they young 20s, like 20, 21, 22. And I know y'all know that the famous Paid in Full movie, the dude, what's his name, Camron played, pretty much that was based on Alpo character. Now, he's also infamous for killing his best friend, Rich Porter, who he claimed stole from him and continued to lie to him when he questioned him about it. Then, when he eventually got busted for everything, he snitched and told on people from Washington, D.C., vowing that he'll never give up anybody from Harlem. I guess to him, that was better. Who knows? Now, A lot of people have been trying to get interviews from him since his return from prison back in 2015, and he hasn't done any interviews with anyone up until this one, where he pretty much, this is like not an interview. They was like giving their views back and forth on what snitch it is, what it's not, and blah blah blah. But at the same time, nobody got this appearance, nobody got this interview, if you want to call it, or anything from Alpo since he been home. Now, I mean, you probably heard phone conversations or whatever, but that's about it. Now, it's also been said that since he came out, he's bumped into a few people that had a lot to say about him while he was gone, but when he ran down on them, they didn't have that same energy at all. I'm not going to name no names. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. But y'all know who y'all are, and the people that know, y'all know what's up. A lot of y'all YouTubers and y'all host people, whoever, y'all want to call him a rat, y'all want to call him this and that, but when he come after y'all or he see y'all, bump into y'all are not on that same type of time. Now also, I want to remind y'all others, right, that as much as y'all want to call him a rat and he's grimy because he killed his man and this and that, just remember that this man is still just that, a man. And he also been around the days where dudes was getting killed and robbed left and right, and he survived. Not to mention the work that he put in himself. I think a lot of people forget that part about Alpo. Alright? Now, let's get straight into it now. Alright, listen. Alpo says in one of the clips that he still did time that most of these so-called gangsters today wouldn't do, whether he snitched or not. Now, granted, give it to him. He did do like, I think 24, 22. He did some crazy time. Alright? Now, first and foremost, that don't make it right at all, in my opinion. So I hope he don't think that justifies anything. However, he does have a strong point. A lot of these so-called gangsters these days are telling when they hear that they have to do a 1 to 3, let alone 20 plus years. Now, if you ask me, I would say that the streets is a myth, period, because when I look at guys such as Troy Ave, that is someone who coined his whole career off of being a quote-unquote real street dude who sold drugs, bust his gun. But the minute a real situation presents itself, he started talking. And then he tries to justify his reasoning. Now, listen, I don't care what you say or do. If you are in the streets, I don't care how right you are in whatever situation. If you in the streets doing whatever it is you're doing or whatever, if the courts get involved and you start to speak on a crime and someone ends up being penalized for it or something you said, that's considered snitching. And it's no excuse for it whatsoever. That's just law, bro. Like, no one is telling you to no one's telling you to get in the streets. You volunteered yourself. You seen the money, you seen the glitz, the glamour, you want to be a tough guy, whatever it is. And it kind of reminds me of the 6ix9ine situation, right? Where everyone was feeling so sorry for him because his reason for telling is that the same guys that he was around either had sex with his baby mother, they kidnapped and robbed him, they was stealing money, blah, blah, whatever. My thing is this, right? My take on that is this. You handle street things accordingly. Let me say that again. You handle street situations accordingly. That means if you in a street altercation, you handle it according to the street, how the streets will handle it. You don't get the courts involved. You just don't. That's still no reason to tell on anyone. I'm sorry. Whether you gangster, you blood, you got guns or whatever, so you handle it like that. You don't go to the law at any time. It's not acceptable. I'm sorry. And anybody who think that it's cool to do so or felt any type of sympathy, if you have a friend that felt sympathy and you in the streets, I'm gonna tell you right now, stay away from that friend because they'll potentially tell on you and give you those excuses. That's just it. And matter of fact, touching on that topic, right? Let me tell you this. First and foremost, especially in the streets, with this whole snitching crap, right? Everyone has something to say about snitching up until it hits close to home. Now, what I mean by that is I watch people talk down about people who snitch, but as soon as it involves someone that they actually know or someone that's close to them, whether it's a brother, cousin, uncle, whatever, they start justifying it or minimizing it or finding some kind of excuse of why it was okay that person told. They don't work like that. They don't work like that. You either with snitching or you against it. There's no in between. There's no half, oh, that was my brother, he had, no. And the funny part also is this. You could tell through Alpo's body language in that whole interview that he still has that on-go instinct. Like just his posture, the way he was moving, just waiting for a dude to say something out of line. I mean, that's what it seemed like to me. Know what I mean? Looking him dead in his eye as he speaks. Like, let me tell you, there's body languages and energy that we as people could give off. If you are in tune with this type of stuff to where you could say things to someone without saying it, like, perfect example, like you could speak with your eyes, you could speak with the way you stand, you could speak with your hands. Like, if you're in tune, you know what I'm talking about. And that's what I gravitated from that whole interview, like just his posture, his body language. Like what it was giving off, it's like he wasn't playing. You see what I'm saying? So when the people that know Alpo or came across him, when they say things like he has a crazy dope personality, or he lights up a room, or he can articulate himself with the president if he wanted to because he's that smart, but at the same time he's dangerous, I understand what they mean. And it's not about fear, none of that, because we already know the stories about him. But it's an understanding that you have for someone when you know the type of, what's that word, exuberance? I think that's the word, or whatever it is that they give off, that they letting you know, I'm a man and I stand on whatever I did. If you got a problem, do something about it. Simple. And that was the body language that he was giving off. Now, in another clip, they brought up a good point, both of them. They said that basically in the streets, you can't win for losing because people are always going to have something to say. Right? Then Alpo explained that when he told on the guys out of town, they labeled him a snitch. But then Unique Mecca explained that he took his time like a man. He did his 26 years. He didn't fold, no nothing. But he also explained that when he got out, people were calling him a bad father because he missed out on his kid's life. Now, at this point, that's when Alpo said, this is why you have to do what you have to do for you. Now, that's a good point depending on who you are and what you've been through. You might agree with Alpo, but once again, my stance is this. If you do something, you're supposed to stand on that and take whatever comes with it if you get caught. But going back to the topic, right? My best advice would be to either get out the streets or just don't get in the streets at all. It's nothing wrong with being regular, man. I know we see the glitz and the glamours. We see these rappers, these athletes living life. We want the instant gratification. You may see these drug dealers and scammers driving the best cars with the best clothes, and they look like they living life. But listen, if you're not ready to take what comes with that, just leave it alone. Simple. Go invent something. Go figure out an idea that can make millions or something. Look, that little kid on YouTube, he made what, $30 million? He's making $30 million a year just off of unboxing gifts from his house. That means he doesn't have to leave his house all year and still make $30 million. That's more. Listen, that's more than that drug dealer, that scam or whatever you looking up to. That's way more than they'll probably ever see in 2 lifetimes. All off of YouTube. Let me tell you this. The minute you come up with an idea and start making money off of whatever it is, you'll be just as equal to any drug dealer there is. And then it won't even matter because you'll be legit, not having to look over your shoulder. And then you have everything they have. And to be honest, it's just all a big facade, man. It's all a big facade. And I can honestly say that because I personally knew guys who were locked up doing 20 to 30 years of their life, and they would tell you that if they had another chance, they'll never do what they did to get in jail ever again. Like, that place isn't for anybody, man. Like, you lock animals in cages, not humans, bro. And even to that extent, you're not even supposed to lock animals in cages. But this is like, that's what you subject yourself to once you in a cage, like an animal. Being told what time to go to bed, what time to wake up, what time to eat. And then you eating bull crap. What time to go outside. Then you only outside for like an hour. You want calling your family for like 20 minutes, if that. If you have that type of status in there. Some people don't even get to use the phone. They put you in the mountains where your family can't even visit you. Yeah. Do you know what something like that could do to someone psychologically, man? If they not strong-minded? Like, oh my God, come on. Like, even strong-minded dudes break sometimes in there. They feel it. They break. Jail break you, man, if you're not strong enough. The weak, that's why a lot of these people, the weak-minded ones, they commit suicide. They can't take it, man. It's the wolves in there. Survival of the fittest. So look, the moral of the story is this. Just stay out the way, man. The streets are always going to talk no matter what you do. So I'm not justifying to snitch. No, I'm saying don't put yourself in a position to where you might have to snitch, or where you have to go to jail, or where you have to sit there and balance your life out, where you like, yo, damn, I'm either gonna have to snitch or take 50 years because you're trying to impress somebody. The same people that's going to talk down on you hoping you fail. Listen, I'm going to end it like this, y'all. Leave the streets alone, man, because I don't care what no one says. It's not the same. For starters, there's too many cameras everywhere you go. Not to mention the new things they're doing to where they're allowing these apps like Instagram to invade your privacy, where they could tap into your photos, your contact list, and all this other bullcrap the way, and you don't even know. Like, come on, man. Listen, I don't know where y'all from, right? But in New York, it's a camera on almost every corner, some way, somehow. Whether it's a traffic camera, a storefront camera, or just the average police cameras that they put up, or any type of camera they try to tell you is for something else, and it's really just to watch the streets, man. Oh, and not to mention, you got the shot spotters. Now, if you're not familiar with what a shot spotter is, pretty much, let's say a gunshot go off right now, they're able to ping where the location came from, and then they will send police right to that same exact location. They're not playing, man. It's too much. Then on top of that, people are bending the rules to snitching. Like, it's becoming normal. It's not the same, y'all. Like, the streets and the morals, principles just don't exist anymore. I'm telling you. Like, don't get me wrong. There is a code to the streets, right? But with all these newbies in the streets now, that code don't exist because everyone is allowed to be in the streets. Before, you couldn't get money and ride around stunting unless you was really about that action, because you knew the wolves was out. And if you did anyway, you were just an easy target. But look, now, right, due to scamming and other ways of easily getting money, anyone is riding around acting like they tough guys just because they got a bag, right? Then you got the dudes who are actually really like that and about that life, who letting this go down because they starving. And the soft dude is usually the reason that they eating, so they let them rock, or they protecting them just so they could the wolves could eat too. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, man. All the street codes get bended and switched around depending on who it applies to. And like I said earlier, problem is that everyone have their own perception of what the quote-unquote code is. It's like love. Everyone have their own take on what real love is. That's why people love differently. Everyone have their own perception of what loyalty is, or what being a man is. It's a lot, man. And that's the main problem, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna leave that one there, man. Like, I got so much I want to talk about. I don't want to drag it out, any more than I already did. Y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel about the whole snitching thing. Is it a time where snitching is okay, or snitching is never okay? I mean, let me know. Or if y'all got any stories as well, let me know in the comments, man. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time I drop new content. Once again, I appreciate you guys for subscribing to the channel. If you ain't subscribed already, subscribe. And don't forget, as long as you keep watching, I'm gonna keep dropping. And I'm out.